Looks like they'll be getting underway here shortly. Yep, and in fact, you can see the timers going now, and they are underway heading into 1-1. Both of them will pick up the mushroom here. We'll get them synced up a little bit at the end of this level, but both grabbing mushroom in 1-1. We'll see them grab the fire flower in 1-2, which is the strategy that both of these runners have been using throughout the tournament up to this point. So, out in chat land over there, what do you guys think is going to happen in this race? We're going to have a fantastic race. Curious to see your predictions. So heading into 1-2, I think we're going to have a great race. I have no idea what's going to happen here. All right, 1-2, you're going to see them grab the fire flower here, and it looks like both cleanly grab the fire flower. Not much of an advantage for either player. We'll see how they come across this next section. There's going to be a little Goomba there that you got to avoid, and then some piranha plants that you need to snipe out of the way to make sure you complete the level. We're going to have to watch and see what they get on the in-game timer here. So ZZZ actually gets a 353 on the in-game timer. That's huge because he can go straight to the flagpole and get a 347 on the timer, whereas Kaku got a 352, so then you have to subtract 6 seconds. That would put him at a 346, so he had to delay by 1 in-game second to get a 345 on the timer, because in this game, you'll get fireworks if you touch the flagpole when the in-game timer is 1 digit ends in a 6, 3, or 1, and 6 fireworks will cost you about 3 seconds. 3 fireworks will cost you about 1.5 seconds, and 1 firework doesn't really cost you any time at all. But so we saw Kaku had to avoid the 6 on the timer there, so that gives ZZZPC the early lead here, heading into 1-4. So you're going to see them get to Bowser here. And the reason they're not going to just go by Bowser and touch the axe is it's actually faster to kill Bowser with fire. It is faster to slow down just a little bit and get this fire kill on Bowser, because once you touch the axe, you go directly towards Toad here to complete the level. If you didn't fire kill him and you just touch the axe, then you would have to wait for an animation where the bridge collapses, Bowser falls into the lava, and that just costs a couple seconds of time as well. So that's why they end up doing the fire kill here. So we're now heading into World 2. 2-1 is a pretty straightforward level. There are a couple snipes you need to do on the piranha plants here, as you see ZZZ do. If you miss those snipes, that could be a bit treacherous. You might accidentally take a hit there, but other than that, the level pretty straightforward. The spring at the end of this level can be a little tricky. If you mess it up, it can cost you a little bit of time. Both runners handle the spring nice and easily, so they are clean through 2-1 onto our first water level, 2-2. ZZZPC with maybe a couple frame rule advantage. So when I say a frame rule, that is a chunk of 21 frames or 0.35 seconds. That is how the game checks to see if you've completed a level. It checks every 21 frames or every 0.35 seconds. So you can only gain or lose time in the first 31 stages in increments of 0.35 seconds, minus there's a couple exceptions for lag, but for the most part, this game operates on 0.35 second increments. So in this water level, you got a few choke points. You got these cheeps and bloopers. Looks like both runners nicely sniping out of the way. That ZZZPC, you see him there sniping a cheap out of the way at the end of the level. Kaku also doing a nice job. And one thing to notice is ZZPC actually grabbed the middle of the flagpole. Kaku grabs the top of the flagpole. We'll have to see in certain levels that can change whether you actually save the frame rule or not. It actually, believe it or not, is faster to grab the top of the flagpole than the bottom of the flagpole, unless, of course, you're doing the flagpole glitch. But you're not going to see these runners go for the flagpole glitch. It's too risky to do in tournaments. So in that case, it's faster to grab the top of the flagpole than the bottom of the flagpole, contrary to a lot of popular belief. That's because you have to wait for the flag to slide down anyway, no matter where you grab it on the flagpole. So grabbing it at the top allows Mario to get a little bit of a faster acceleration off of the flag than if he's at the bottom where he's resting on the block. It takes him a little bit more time to just walk off the block there. So it is faster to go to the top. We are in our second castle level, 2-4. There's a tricky elevator jump here. You see ZZZPC go for it. Kaku doing a little bit safer strategy, so he doesn't have to do the tricky jump. If you miss that tricky jump, you actually will probably bonk your head and fall into the pit. So nicely done by ZZZ. and he extends his lead over Kaku by another couple frame rules. Kaku getting a 258 on the timer. So ZZZPC with about a 1.5 lead or so over Kaku at this point in time. But still, anybody's game. One little slip up will change things. And even at this point, only being a 1.5, not even a slip up, but maybe a bonk could bring this game back to tied. So ZZZPC going up and over the Koopa there. Kaku as well going over the Koopa. There's a couple options you can do on the stairs there. Both runners choosing to jump over that second Koopa. Another option is to snipe that second Koopa out of the way with a fireball, but these runners opting to do the other route where you do a quick little shimmy left-right and jump over that second Koopa. So ZZZ maintains his lead into 3-2. 3-2, really straightforward level. There are a couple maybe slightly tight jumps. Kaku shooting the Koopas out of the way. That'll despawn this Goomba here before the stairs. We saw ZZZ did not do that, so that made that stair jump a little bit tighter for him. But nice and flawless 3-2 for each runner. Now we're going to head into 3-3. 3-3 will be a very straightforward platforming level for these guys, but I am very curious to see what they're going to do in 3-4. What strategies will they use in 3-4? Do they know what the patterns will be for the potaboos and so forth? Will they take it risky? Will they take it safe? That's where we're really going to see what these runners' decisions are. And so 3-4 is going to be a key decision point early in this speed run here. ZZZ gets a pretty high potaboo, so he nice and safely goes over it, hesitates, waits for it to get out of the way and goes over it. And we will see him take the safer strategy with these potaboos as well. Kaku also safer strategy, 258 on the timer for ZZZ and 258 all square in 3-4 in terms of in-game time for ZZZ and Kaku. So now we get to head into World 4, 4-1. Not a whole lot to say about this level. Easiest level in the speedrun by far. You just run along here. Just make sure you jump and avoid the piranha plants. That's about it. Lakitu, he's throwing these spinies at you. He's not going to be able to hit you with any of these spinies. So you just keep running, and Lakitu won't cause you any problems. Just make sure you don't touch any of the piranha plants, climb the stairs, and touch the flagpole, and then you go on to 4-2. So very clean through 4-1, but now the intensity is going to ramp up. 4-2, maybe not the most intense level. The biggest decision point in 4-2 is, do you go top route or do you go bottom route? So we'll have to see which route these runners prefer. Top route, a little safer. Some runners actually don't prefer the top route because they think it's a little harder to get to the top. Other runners like the bottom route just because they, it's more fun that way. And so you see different routes here. ZZZ going the bottom route, sniping some piranha plants out of the way. Kaku takes the top route. Neither route is faster. Because of the frame rule system, they'll both get 344 on the in-game timer. And Kaku also, again, hitting the top of the flagpole here. I think he will close up one frame rule. I'm going to look at the flashing coin here. I do think you could lose so dark for ZZZ and dark for Kaku. Okay, so it didn't actually cost ZZZ a frame rule in this level, but in some levels it could cost you a frame rule if you grab. But we see ZZZ with a little bonk there. Kaku avoids the bonk, so I think Kaku is going to close one frame rule here on ZZZ as well. Maybe two, depending on if he gets the sky boots. We see Kaku does get the sky boots, but now the runners, the gap is closing a little bit here with ZZZ having that bonk and Kaku not taking that bonk there. So just closing up a little bit, little by little, this match closing. Now into 4-4, we have a maze level. You're seeing these runners taking a little bit of a windy path through here. That's intended by the game designers. You got to go and hit certain trigger points, some vertical trigger points as you go through the level. And both runners nicely through 4-4, 347s on the timer for each. So we maintain this, couple second advantage for ZZZ over Kaku. Still an incredibly close race. In terms of numbers of levels, we're halfway through, but these levels are a little bit longer, the latter half of the run, so we're not quite halfway through the run in terms of time. Going into World 5, World 5, very difficult level, with 5-1 being the easiest of the levels in World 5. You'll see nice and clean 247 from both runners here. Now the intensity ramps up. We go into 5-2. There is a bullet bill cannon that could shoot a bullet bill right at the beginning. We'll have to see what these runners, what their strategies are for approaching this bullet bill shot. Oh, ZZZ has a little bonk there, which causes a bill to fire, and that means Kaku gets to close the gap just a little bit. Kaku also with a safer strategy, so maybe not actually closing the gap all that much either. We'll have to see what they get on the in-game timer here at the end of the level. Oh, ZZZ gets a 343 on the timer. That is going to allow Kaku to close the gap. That 343, that 3 in the ones digit, is going to give ZZZ 3 fireworks, which will cost him about a second and a half. He only had a couple second lead over Kaku, so this is back to being within a 2-frame rule window. Kaku choosing to do a buffer jump here at the beginning of 5-3. I think that's to allow the bullet bills to be kind of in a little bit nicer place. ZZZ not doing the buffer jump, so... Oh, but he will have to stop here at the end of the stairs, and we are tied heading into 5-4. This is a tie to the exact frame rule. Unbelievable. We are headed into 5-4, exactly tied, y'all. So 5-4, we're going to see what the runners choose to do here. They both choose to hit the power-up block. ZZZ getting through that part a little bit quicker than Kaku, so... also taking the faster elevator jump, so he's going to open up that lead a little bit again, but it does come down to this Bowser kill as well. Nice Bowser kill for ZZZ. Kaku a little bit slower because of the safer strategies, so 251 versus 255. ZZZ going to open up a 1.5 second lead approximately again, so about a 4-frame rule advantage for ZZZ. Heading into World 6. So 6-1 is kind of like 4-1. You got Lakitu here. He's not going to hurt you as long as you don't slow down or you don't jump too high off of these stairs into his space there. So just run through the level, hit the flagpole, and move on to 6-2. 6-2, if you're new to SMB1 speedrunning, you'll find 6-2 very tough. It is quite a technical level, but it is pretty comfortable once you get to know this level. You're going to do a couple piranha plant snipes here, another piranha plant snipe there. Make sure you jump over that piranha plant as Kaku does. It is definitely a technical level in terms of the sniping ability required. And then you're going to see a little bit of a tricky stuff here at the end of the level. ZZZ choosing to go over that Koopa, and Kaku not too far behind, but he does take a little bit of a bonk in the level. So that is going to allow ZZZ to about double his lead from about a 1.5 seconds to about a 3-second lead here. So gap widening just a little bit. We were in sync there for just a tiny bit. Now the gap has widened once again in ZZZ's favor. He is flying through 6-3. 6-3, these bullet bills could give you a little bit of trouble depending on where they line up, but all of them are avoidable. You just got to make sure you do avoid them. Both runners perfectly through 6-3. This is one of those levels where you do have to slow down a little bit to avoid a 6 on the timer, on the in-game timer, to get 6 fireworks. So thankfully, neither runner getting that 6 on the timer. We see going through 6-4 now. Gotta wait for that first fire bar, but once you wait for that first fire bar, it'll set up good fire bars for the rest of the level. And this is a repeat of 1-4, just with the extra fire bars and the extra potaboos, and Bowser now throwing hammers, which can create some lag in this game. So this is one of the points in the game where the 21 frame rule doesn't actually apply if you do get some lag frames. And that's just because there's too many things happening on screen for this little 8-bit processor to process. So it can end up creating some lag in 6-4, and also 7-4 Bowser fights can have some lag. So now we're on to World 7, another challenging world overall. Nicely done for ZZZ through 7-1, and Kaku also not too far behind, perfect 352. Now we're going to go into 7-2, the second water level. It is a repeat of 2-2, but there's going to be more cheeps, more bloopers, more tight choke points, so you really got to be on point with your fireballs. Tap left if you need to avoid hitting an enemy if you think the fireball isn't going to carry you through. And then there's also the dreaded bad blooper at the end of the level. We'll have to see if either of these runners get the bad blooper. ZZZ nicely through the first choke point. Kaku as well goes through the first choke point, but he does take a little bit of a bonk, and then he has to do a hesitation on that cheap there, but that's the main thing. Keep your fire flower. ZZZ also with a little bonk now, so both runners taking slight detours here. No bad blooper for ZZZ with a 3:14 on the timer. And Kaku gets a 3:12 on the timer. That means he's going to have to wait an in-game second as well to avoid getting fireworks. So he does do that little bonk in the flagpole there to get a 3:05 instead of a 3:06 on the timer and avoiding those fireworks. So ZZZ opening up the lead by another 3 frame rules or so over Kaku. So this is about a 4.5 second gap or so, give or take a little bit of time there. And now we're into another repeat level 7-3. This one, a repeat of 2-3, but instead you've got extra cheeps and some Koopas that are in this level. You see these green flying Koopas. There's also some red ones as well. No problem for ZZZ. Kaku had to do a little bit of a slowdown. It may or may not cost him a frame rule. 7-3 has a pretty lenient frame rule. You could lose a few frames and still get the optimal frame rule there. So I think Kaku ended up being okay with that 240 there, still getting the optimal frame rule. ZZZ into 7-4, another maze level. You can see these running go top, middle, top, and then they're going to go, bottom, middle, top, and then they're going to go top, middle, top to go through the maze and hit these checkpoints, these vertical checkpoints that you need to hit throughout the level. And on to another Bowser fight, Bowser throwing his hammers, the Potaboo there, and both runners with a nice level, 342 for ZZZ. Kaku closing it back up with a 344, a little bit faster Bowser kill. So gap closes just a little bit, heading into 8-1. So we are in 8-1. This is the world where if you take a death, there are no checkpoints in these levels. Thankfully, neither of our runners has taken a death to this point, but if you do end up taking a death, there's no continuation or checkpoints through the middle of these levels like there are in most of the other levels earlier in the speedrun. This is where the money is earned, so to speak, folks. We are into the final world, no checkpoints, 8-1. ZZZ blasting his way, shooting everything. Kaku also clean through 8-1. 200 on the timer for both runners. Perfect 8-1. Heading into 8-2. 8-2 can be a little bit tricky. Got this tight stair jump here. Well done by ZZZ to execute the stairs perfectly, and then Kaku follows suit. And then there's a little tricky section here where you got this really tall pipe you'll need to jump over, followed by some Koopas. We'll see how these runners handle it. ZZZ, nice shot. Gets one of the Koopas through that section, no problem. Bounces off the Koopa. Kaku, also no problem through here. What kind of Koopa does he get? He ducks and waits on the Koopa, so he's going to lose a little bit of time to ZZZ. ZZZ getting the optimal time, whereas Kaku not quite getting the optimal time there. So the gap does widen by a couple more frame rules. ZZZ into 8-3. He's got the fire flower. He shouldn't be too worried about any of these Hammer Brothers. He goes bottom route here. No Hammer Brother problems. He's shooting these Hammer Brothers out of the way. Kaku following suit. Clean for ZZZ, does the coin block bump. That's what a very nice bump that I like to do as well. I think it's a little bit safer than doing it up on those stairs, or if you miss, you can get a 343 on the timer, or you could panic yourself into falling in the gap there. So both runners choosing the coin block bump. And on to our final level, 8-4. This isn't over by any means. You could have a slow turnaround or a slow water section, or you could get hit by a cheap and then hit by Bowser. Not over by any means. You can miss the wall jump, but ZZZ gets the wall jump. Kaku now going for the wall jump. Let's see if he gets it. Does get the wall jump. ZZZ gets a nice turnaround, heading into the water section, our second to final room here. He's got to go under this fire bar. Nice duck swim underneath the fire bar. You see that duck swim allows Mario's hitbox to shrink in size. Kaku takes a hit to the fire bar. He didn't get the duck swim, unfortunately. ZZZ into the final room, takes the hit through Bowser's hammers, completes the run in a time of 19:20. Just a beautiful run. Kaku, unfortunately, is going to take the loss with a time of 19:29. I stopped his timer there a little bit late. I believe it was in 19:29. These runners were just neck and neck the whole run. GG's to both runners. ZZZ taking the win, 19:20. We'll say 19:30 just for simplicity's sake, since we got that here on the timer for Kaku. But about a 10-second win for ZZZ. Great clean race by both runners. Each runner only taking a hit right there at the end in 8-4. Just a fantastic race here. Such a clean run for both. That means ZZZ will advance to the next round to face Roy LT in the 5th round of the second chance bracket. Unfortunately for Kaku, that is the end of the road. He will be bounced from the tournament, but a very, very, very strong showing from Kaku. You can't be disappointed losing and getting knocked out of the tournament with a 19:29. So that is just an incredible time. But unfortunately, like I said, the end of the road for Kaku, losing to his countrymate ZZZ, who will go on to face Roy LT, the number 4 seed in the next round of the losers bracket here. So just an incredible race. I can't say enough about these two runners. I don't think we're going to be able to get either one in for an interview, but I do want to preview. We've got a lot more coming up today in the SMB Warpless Tournament here on the Speed Gaming family of channels. At 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Dash Retro versus Mamaru 339, another Japanese runner. So that will be the 25 seed Dash versus the 18 seed Mamaru. And the winner of that match will face Xerox Fiend in the 5th round of the losers bracket. So again, that is at 6 p.m. That's going to be on Speed Gaming 4. So make sure to give Speed Gaming 4 a follow. Then a couple hours after that, at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Rupert 83 versus JT Knott, and that will be on Speed Gaming 3. So make sure to give that Speed Gaming channel, Speed Gaming 3, a follow as well. Rupert is your 11 seed, and JT Knott our 19 seed. And another elimination match here. Those runners will be facing for the right to face the Cole in the 5th round of the losers bracket. So that'll be a 4th round matchup with the right to go to the 5th round to face the Cole. So another fantastic matchup. Every match here is going to be very, very tight. Every match here is an elimination match. So once again, that's 6 p.m. on Speed Gaming 4 and then 8 p.m. on Speed Gaming 3 Eastern times. We will have 2 more runs this evening, and that's what we've got coming up for the schedule for this weekend. Also, just make sure to check out all the Speed Gaming channels. They're always just showing lots of different great runs. We've seen Super Metroid recently. We've seen a lot of different other games as well. So check out all the Speed Gaming channels, and make sure to tune in for the matches tonight. We got a couple good ones this evening. That's going to do it for this edition of the SMB Warpless Tournament. Just once again, congratulations to both runners on fantastic times. 19:20 for our winner, ZZZ PC, and we'll give him a 19:29 for Kaku. But GG's to both runners. Congratulations to ZZZ on advancing to the next round. And once again, tune in 6 p.m. Speed Gaming 4, 8 p.m. Speed Gaming 3, as the Warpless Tournament continues. Once again, I am Takate as your host today. Thank you guys in chat for all of the support for both of these runners, and have a great day. We'll catch you later.